understanding of the regulations for handling waste. Both federal and regional regulatory agencies have been working closely with the dairy industry to achieve standards of excellence in waste management, which will ensure a healthy environment for all Californians. There are many organizations and individuals who have worked long and hard to bring this program to fruition. I'd like to thank CDFA Secretary Lyons for being here today. It is through the support of his department that the certifications could be accomplished. I'd also like to give a big thanks to Dr. Joe O'Donnell and Dr. Mike Payne, who are responsible for administering the overall program. And finally, to the officials at UC Davis, specifically Deanne Myers, who developed the environmental stewardship coursework and components for the certification program. A big thank you for a job well done. I'm delighted to announce the first 10 California dairy farmers have completed the environmental stewardship certification. These producers attended 6 hours of coursework through a 3-day period, developed a comprehensive farm management plan, and passed a rigorous on-farm evaluation conducted by the California Department of Food and Agriculture. 7 of the 10 producers are here with us today, and they're standing directly in front of me. Chuck Allum from Turlock, Mark Alderson from Gerber, Marianne Banson from Ferndale, Trish Longpree from Escalon, Lance Stornetta from Point Arena, John Booker from Harrodsburg, and Gary Bordessa from Valley Ford. Due to the significance of this occasion, one where private and public partnership has worked to the advantage of all Californians, we've asked 4 key officials to say a few words, and I'd like to introduce them in the order that they're speaking. First, Alexis Strauss, Chief of Water Resources for the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, Region 9. The Honorable Dean Flores, Assemblyman for the 30th Assembly District and Chairman of the Assembly Agriculture Committee. The Honorable Charles Pujagian, Senator for the 14th Senate District and member of the Senate Agriculture and Water Resources. California Department of Food and Ag Secretary Bill Lyons, and Charles Allum, dairy producer and chairman of the California Dairy Quality Assurance Program. Now I'd like to turn it over to Alexis Strauss, who will provide an overview of the environmental certification component.
Thanks very much. On behalf of the Environmental Protection Agency and many of the folks gathered here, it was just over a year ago when under a sweltering sky at UC Davis this program was launched. And this is perhaps the complete contrast in weather, but we have much to celebrate, and many of the very helpful participants who make this certification possible are thankfully here to celebrate this with us. I'm very glad that the US EPA was able to provide the seed money to get this program started, because I'm fully confident that the goodwill that has been engendered among all of the participants will help us to expand this program, not only throughout California, but we in EPA, being responsible for other states, would very much like to see the success here replicated elsewhere. And there's so many wonderful people here who have been committed to making this work very, very well indeed. The money that EPA was able to put on the table with the participants has helped to fund the stewardship and certification course. Typically at EPA, so much of our work has to do with the inspections and compliance actions that we take, and it's rare that we were able to contribute this kind of money to make a compliance assistance component available, and what a wonderful result has ensued. There are so many folks who have made it through the course. There are still others that we would like to see go through the course and be able to continue from where we are now in the certification process to an area that yet has to be funded and filled, which is yet more technical assistance, both from a research perspective and a practical on-farm perspective. There are many more areas where we could go together and achieve a great deal more than we could achieve by any one particular compliance action at EPA. So I'm hoping that many of us here will have the wherewithal to stay the course, both literally and figuratively, not only to allow others to continue to take the course, but to be able to supply a higher level of technical assistance to the dairy industry, which is so vital to us in California. I'm very glad to be here. I'm also hoping that over time that we can use this platform of communication and mutual assistance and trust to deal on a statewide basis with other related needs that we have. We have a compelling need to better manage manure on a statewide basis, both in cities and in rural areas, from both publicly owned treatment works as well as from dairies. There are many issues that arise from how we might try and do something like this. A number of us have begun this kind of a dialogue, and I invite all of you who may have an interest to help us in trying to solve this problem over the long term. But having the ability to celebrate here today these particular accomplishments and level of stewardship, I think, is a very important platform for beginning to tackle the other issues that remain before us. So our compliments and sincere appreciation to the time and goodwill and the results that have been achieved for all of those who've participated. Thank you very much.
Since Assemblyman Dean Flores isn't here yet, maybe if Chuck Pajigian, Senator Chuck Pajigian could...
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate most of all that this is described as a celebration, because it in fact is. We are applauding some people that represent an industry that's vital to California, to our economic vitality as well as our way of life. And it's important that we recognize that accomplishment, that level of professionalism and dedication to an industry that has such importance to our state. We are the #1 dairy state. That comes as a surprise, I think, to a lot of people, perhaps even people in California, but we are the #1 dairy state in America. We're the #1 cheese state in America as well. You heard the numbers earlier about the amount of production in terms of gallonage of milk, or milk pounds, as well as the fact that we do produce something like 1.4 billion pounds of cheese in California. Land use is extremely important to all Californians. It's very relevant to those involved in the dairy industry. Most recently, dairies have faced, I think, a level of attention that had not previously been the case for any number of reasons with respect to matters pertaining, for example, to water quality. And this program, this environmental stewardship program, is an important component in dealing with some of those challenges that are faced with respect to water quality, as well as animal health and public safety and health in general, nutrition and so forth. Speaking of nutrition, we do have the highest nutritional standards in the country with respect to our milk products, milk and cheese products. Lastly, in addition to congratulating those who are the recipients of the honor being bestowed upon them in terms of the certificate you're going to receive, I think it's very, very significant. I hope that this is not unique. I don't think it is unique in terms of the collaboration between government, regulatory agencies, and industries that are affected by those regulatory, the regulatory mission of the agencies. After all, we are in a real way in this together. And I think it's most important and compelling that we've seen this level of agreement and understanding and working together. So often the relationship is characterized as adversarial, and certainly there are times when agencies' regulatory mission requires them to take fairly strict and punitive action against industry. In this instance, we're really focused on something that is preventive. The preventive nature of this program, its significance in raising awareness of the public, of the bureaucracy, and most importantly, of the producers, the importance, raising their awareness of the significance of what they do, the impacts of what they do on the environment and on public health and safety is very, very important, and I think the producers are the first to understand and recognize that. And so this is a very, very positive collaboration, and I again thank you for allowing me to speak to you, and congratulate and thank those producers who have gone through this fairly rigorous program of education and on-farm inspection and review that points out the fact that we have the best dairy operations in America right here. Thank you very much.
Next, Secretary Lyons would like to say a few words.
Thank you, Chuck. Good morning. On behalf of Governor Gray Davis and the California Department of Food and Agriculture, it's my pleasure to be here today and offer my congratulations to the first California dairy certified under the Environmental Stewardship Program. California's dairy industry continues to set new national records for the number of cows and milk production. In 1999, milk production reached 30.5 billion pounds. California is clearly home to the most productive, efficient, and competitive dairy producers in the entire country. Not only are we the #1 dairy state in the nation, but California agriculture is also known for its innovation and cutting-edge technology. We generally do it here first, and the nation follows. Environmental stewardship and food quality are no different. Through the Environmental Stewardship Program, we help to achieve the ultimate goal of protecting our air and waterways and providing Californian citizens with peace of mind that the dairy industry is part of the solution to preserve the environment. I am very proud of the leadership that California agriculture has demonstrated in addressing these important issues. This program would not be such a success today if it were not for the commitment and dedication of the representatives from the dairy industry, state and federal government. I would like to conclude my brief remarks by thanking each of the individuals who've won this important program and the agencies that they represent for having the vision to revolutionize the way that government works with industry to solve our most pressing needs. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Nancy. Appreciate your kind words. Alexis, and your support. This has been a long-term project, and the financial support, too, in that process. Senator Chuck Pajigian, your efforts have been greatly appreciated. And Secretary Lyons, without the effort of the CDFA, and we would not be where we are today, and really appreciate that support. And since we have another honored speaker here, Dean, just on time. Thank you very much. Assemblyman Dean Flores.
They're cold. Thank you very much. I want to make sure that everyone understands 3.5 billion gallons in 1999, a 10% increase for the dairy industry. And I think it says that, more importantly, that this is an industry that we need to be concerned with in California. We are from the legislative perspective. But I think what this says from a political point of view of this building is that we don't always need to settle all of our environmental issues in court. This is a voluntary program with over 900 graduates. We're looking to have gone through this program as operators. It also says that the dairy industry is extremely concerned that other tools be used to make sure that environmental quality is at the foremost concern for all of us living in other areas. But I think this is a model that the state should look at. It is a model based on the fact that our dairy industry is moving in the entirely right direction when it comes to quality assurance. And more importantly, this is a tool that will allow our dairy industry to thrive and grow. And so let me say congratulations particularly to the Secretary for working in a very tough environment for our dairies. Senator Pachigian and I represent the Central Valley, and particularly I represent Kings County, which is a dairy county that is looking to grow and expand, but at the same time is a participant in a program that will allow the industry to grow, and hopefully we'll see 4 billion gallons in the year 2000. I think that's very valuable. So let me say I'm very proud to be here. I hope that the press corps and others here today realize that this is an enormous step for the dairy industry. And as I said, when over 900 of our operators have gone through a voluntary compliance program to understand how to make the environment better, you should know that not all the time we don't need to pass a bill to make that happen. This is a voluntary program. I think it's very valuable, and I think we've learned some good lessons from this. And I think it will be the wave of the future. for the dairy industry and, more importantly, for the legislature to say that we need to do more of this. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Dean. This has not been an easy project. As you can see, the different players here, to get the dairymen, regulators, academic community, our various producer groups, it's been quite a fun challenge. There's a lot of misunderstanding about the regulatory community and their efforts, as well as what the dairy industry was doing. But through this process, we have gained a great appreciation through each other. The partnerships we've formed, from I see Fish and Game out here, to our producer organizations, academic, and new appreciation for that academic, but also a whole new appreciation for the regulatory community and how we can work together and build trust with those agencies, government agencies. And we're so appreciative of Governor Davis's support in this process. We've been in this process working in the dairy industry since '96. So it's taken an awful lot of different players to play in this field, and the trust building has been incredible. Alexis has just been great in doing that. But one thing we had to understand, that we're all telling the truth, and we wanted to deal with an issue. It's not that the industry had a lot of problems, or there were problems out there, but how are we demonstrating them? Finally, we've got a program now we can demonstrate with confidence that we're doing the best job that we can to provide that the environment, the safe environment, and protect that environment, working with our regulatory agencies, hopefully taking some strain off them. Serving on a regional water quality board, I understand the tremendous amount of stress and strain trying to regulate all the industries within California. And this is an effort for the industry. I'm just so proud of our dairymen of California to step forward to participate in this program, and especially the first dairies to be certified. It's really exciting. I think we maybe ought to give a round of applause to ourselves, the dairy industry, and I don't always enjoy applauding myself in the process, but why don't we applaud all these people who come out here on this cold morning for this celebration. With that, my kids always tell me to keep it short, and I don't often do a very good job, and I've probably blown that already. The first dairyman I would like to introduce, one of our first dairies to be certified, is I'd like to make a few comments. It's Mark Alderson. He is a second-generation dairyman, the owner of Alderson Dairy in Grieber, California. Milks 120 Holstein cows. You'll still talk to me after this, Mark. Which are raised in pasture. Mark, congratulations. I hope these are in the right order. The next dairy is Bancrest Dairy. It's a 350 Jersey cow dairy operation owned by Marianne and Pete Benson of Ferndale, California. It's a pasture-based dairy founded in 1923. Pete's grandfather, Peter Benson, representing Bancrest family, is here today. Marianne and Pete's son, Jim Benson, a UC Davis agriculture economics major, will accept the award. Next, we have the Bartlink Dairy. It is a 650 Holstein cow operation owned by Johann Bartlink of Escalon, California. An immigrant from Holland, Mr. Bartlink has been a dairyman since 1957. Accepting the certificate is her daughter, Trish Lampre, And I would say, knowing Hank, knowing John, this is an improvement. So Trish, I'm really glad. And then following is Gary Bordessa of Bordessa Dairy from Valley Ford, a 330-head Holstein operation, freestall operation, and he's fourth generation in operation. Gary, congratulations. Our next certificate will be given to Haroldsburg Dairyman, California-based Barcher Farms, a 700-head Holstein dairy freestall operation owned by John Butcher. 4 generations of Butcher families have been in the dairy with the first 2 generations in Switzerland. And I don't know if that's a move to come to California from Switzerland or not, and the last 2 have been in the United States. The Butcher, gives me great pleasure to present this award to John. And the final award, I'd like to make a couple comments of how hard these fellows have worked there's an awful lot of work to put together a farm plan and a lot of energy, especially a new program as you're starting. We've kind of had a moving target as we're dealing with new issues, but these dairymen have been very patient to redo their farm plans as the compliance target moved around a little bit. So they made a great amount of effort. The last one gives me extreme pleasure to present. It's representing Charles Alum Ranch, the 1,700 cow Jersey dairy was started by Dad in the 20s. The dairy is founded, was founded by Dad. Today, the guy that's accepting the certificate is my son Mark. Mark, if you'd come. Oh, did I miss one? Oh, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. Mark, if you could step forward. That just adds to that's not very perfect. And now the final award. I'm sorry to let you stand there all alone, Lance. So Walter Stornetta Ranch is a 13-acre Holstein and Jersey dairy crossbreed operation in Point Reyes, California. Lance Stornetta is a 5th generation from the Stornetta family to go into business. Stornetta was founded by Antone Stornetta in the late 1980s. So a very long bloodline, and it looks like the bloodline keeps on improving. Lance, great deal of pleasure to present this. And does everybody have a milk chuck? Does everybody have the ability to pop their lids? Everybody? Mine usually came out of the cow. I was used to it. But I would really like to congratulate all our partners, the California Dairy Quality Assurance Program, and all the dairy producers in California. To that, we'll give this toast to the California dairy industry. Here, here. Thank you, everybody, for your participation in the program. All those people who worked. over these last few years to have this come to fruition. And the job is not yet done. The industry's got a lot of work ahead of it, and we're up to the task. Thank you very much.
Jim and I were already